Hello. Thank you very much. I will do almost anything to get a trip to Italy, but I'm here today. I think many of you, it says founder and chairman of McGarryBowen, and I'll bet by show of hands, how many people here have even ever heard of McGarryBowen besides me? Okay. So for those of you that are creative and account people in this audience, McGarryBowen is considered the fastest growing agency in the history of Madison Avenue. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. Sort of. We started a little over a decade ago. Oh, it's not working? Okay. I'm really bad at this. So McGarryBowen started over a decade ago with John McGarry and I in a Soho apartment in Manhattan. We had no clients, we just had a dream. And it was when September 11th, when the towers fell, and the chairman of Verizon came to us, and he said, I need something to honor the first anniversary of September 11th and the towers falling, because Verizon was right across from Ground Zero. So we created an ad for them, we were very fortunate in the sense that the ad was not only, the networks decided they had nothing to run that week, so instead of running once on 60 Minutes, it ran the entire week for free and got about $40 million worth of free advertising. It was awarded by President Bush as the single best tribute done for the September 11th anniversary. But more important, what was really interesting, is that the ad was so well received in America that Verizon, which at that time was the largest and is still the largest telecom in America, their phone lines went down because they had so many people calling in. As a result of that, we got a portion, meaning we only had 3 employees, and we didn't have any accounts, but we were able to get a part of the Verizon business. Verizon is the largest advertiser in America, $2.2 billion a year in advertising, and became our foundation client. From there, we went on to win all of the Verizon business, and from there, today, somewhat to my shock, actually, the only reason that John and I, who was my partner, wanted to start an agency is we didn't like any of the holding companies, and we wanted to do something on our own where we didn't report to someone like Martin Sorrell. And so in the end, what was really interesting is that after a little over a decade, we went from as I said, first 2 employees, then 4. We now have about 10,000 employees around the world and represent many global brands, including Procter & Gamble, Verizon, American Express, Walt Disney Company, Intel, etc. So we specialize in iconic brands, and we've been very, very fortunate because we have the highest account retention rate in the industry. And we've been named Advertising Agency of the Year in America 3 times. So that's not what I'm going to talk about today at all. What I really want to talk about is something that I'm worried about, and something that I think you should be worried about. If it's not hitting your agencies now, it will shortly in the future. I'm a big believer in storytelling, and as I was coming to Italy, I decided that I really wanted to think of something that would really be applicable to Italy, and so I turned to Dante as an English major and the Divine Comedy, which it seemed to me like the Divine Comedy is some application to advertising almost every day of my life. But the fact of the matter is, in the Divine Comedy, he begins in hell, which is, we always think is where people are going to end up. But actually, he begins in hell, and then you go to purgatory, and then you have the potential to go to paradise. It also sounds like advertising in some way or another, and sometimes in reverse order. But what I am going to talk about today is actually, and my remarks are entitled, is that up? Data's Inferno. Now, in America right now, companies are buying up data and data companies for 20 and 30 times their value because data is what everyone's looking for, from Facebook to Google, and from Facebook and Google and everyone else. And so, as a result, what is the core of our business and has been for years, and creativity is actually, it's not on the decline, it's just been sort of set aside in this insatiable search for data. So as I've been thinking about this, and I don't do the screen thing because I always feel like it feels a little like Donald Trump, and that obviously abhors me. So I decided to tell a story through a storybook because I believe strongly in the power of story and storytelling, which is what Dante did as well. To tell my story, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, an inferno is a large fire that dangerously is out of control. All of our clients will tell you that their data is seriously out of control. So, in fact, therefore are looking for data to tell them what to do. So I thought it made some sense to turn, as I talk in this talk, to the only person who has ever been named Data. How many people in the audience know Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek? Are there any Trekkies in here? So I'm going to have to explain a little bit of this, but I hope you'll appreciate it. In the series Star Trek, there is a commander named Data, and he is an android. And he reports to Captain Kirk, for those of you who have ever seen this film. And he's probably the most intelligent android in the history of creation, certainly far more intelligent than any source of data that we have today. In fact, he's one of the more quoted in Google characters, and people search him all of the time. So I figured Data, since he is named Data and had more data in the future than anyone on Earth has now, I would turn to Commander Data and his relationship with Data to get to the truth. So Commander Data says, this is him, for those of you that recognize him, and he says, "We are more alike than unlike, my dear Captain. I have pores, humans have pores. I have fingerprints, humans have fingerprints. My chemical nutrients are like blood. If you prick me, do I not leak?" So, for those of you that know English literature, do I not leak? It's, blood is thicker than data. That doesn't make sense. Blood or leakage flows from the heart? I think not. Data would appear to me to be at its center heartless. And this is really what I want to talk about today. In his own words, Data leaked and does not have blood and is heartless. And I believe that people are heartful, and there's probably no country, or at least belief from an American standpoint, country that is more heartful than the Italian country, where we at least believe there's more, that passion drips in the blood. So, interestingly enough, music is the most transforming of the art forms, which we have used for United Airlines, using Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin, teamed up with the American Olympians to fly the world's largest airline. And I'll tell you what Data had to say about music. He says, right here, I'm United Airlines, and this is what Commander Data has to say about music. "What in God's name is that noise?" "Music, Professor. Do you think that you could thin it out a bit?" And Commander Data says, "I am capable of distinguishing over 150 simultaneous compositions. Of course, aesthetic analysis is beyond my abilities." Here's the most recognized tune associated with any American advertiser in America right now.
One journey, two teams, united for over 35 years.
So that piece of music, Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, of course it's an airline, is associated with United Airlines, but that piece of film was voted by the American public as the single most effective piece of Olympic advertising. Yet, aesthetic analysis is beyond Data's abilities. For our client, Fiat Chrysler, the largest automotive company in the world, we used a simple allegory to break through the clutter. So here's what Commander Data has to say. The human ability to abstract is highly unusual. They seem to communicate through narrative imagery, a reference to the individual and paces which appear in their mytho-historical accounts. And the doctor says, do you understand? And he says, the situation is analogous to understanding. As an interesting side note, we filmed that right in the agency and built the set in the agency, and it was really supposed to just be a test. They ran it as it was. So that little film transformed Fiat in South America, and obviously is a testament to Data's ability to abstract, which of course Data is completely incapable of doing. For another client, the Hallmark Hall of Fame, we transformed their business with the promise of a little love. What does Data have to say? Sorry, this might be wrong. About love.
I would like to know your name, show you what I'm all about, and you can do the same. I'd like to know be there in your view. I would like to be your pal, show you all the ins and outs, and you can show me how to get to know you, how to be there in your view. There's no task too big or small. You take the load and I'll take the fall. There ain't no thing I'd rather do than be there, be there, be there, be there, be there in your view. I would like to be your friend, to only have to see you smile, to notice every whim I ought to know you. Wanna be there in your view. I would like to be your chum, to hear you out and catch your drift before you have begun, because I know you. Gonna be there in your view. There's no task too big or small. You take the load and I'll take the fall. There ain't no thing I'd rather do than be there, be there, be there, be there, be there in your view.
Hallmark, for those of you who don't know, it is the largest greeting company in the world, but they had a problem. No one was giving greeting cards anymore. They're all texting. So Don Hall, who owns the company, was so touched by this as a touch to millennials, we won the rest of the business based on that. For Chevron, the largest company in California, we used colloquial language, even small talk, to humanize big oil. And
this is a story about doers. It's also a story about canals and the artificial heart, electric guitars, and rockets to the moon. In other words, this is the story of America, land of the doers.
Doing it. Did it. Done.
Hard-working doers and smart-working doers. Olds changed the way we put things together.
Yes.
And keeping them together, that was Walter's doing. Doers built this country. They built the dams and the railroads.
John Henry was a steel driving man.
Catchy. They built the Golden Gates and the Empire States. Doers turned nothing into something, and something into something else. Doing got this nation done, along with the hula hoop, blue jeans, and that little thing we call the interstate highway system. And all this doing, it takes energy. No matter who's doing,
There's all kinds of doing up in here.
or what they're doing. What the heck's he doing? Energy got us here, and it's our job to make sure there's enough energy to keep doers doing the stuff doers do, to keep us all doing what we do.
So, Commander Data, when it talks about, now, that Doers campaign, let me just tell you about Chevron. You wouldn't know this. Chevron is the largest company in California. And California, if it were a nation, I'm told, would be the 5th largest country in the world in terms of gross national product. So they're a very important company. But the problem they have is no one wants to work there. Everyone wants to work for Google and Facebook and everybody and Intel and everybody else in Silicon Valley, only 30 miles away. What they needed to do was represent to the world that they were doing great things in the world to attract the future brains to bring energy to the world. Now, let me go back. Sorry. The back doesn't work. Okay.
I am a princess. I am brave sometimes. I am scared sometimes. Sometimes I am brave even when I am scared. I believe in loyalty and trust. I believe loyalty is built on trust. I am a princess. I think standing up for myself is important. I think standing up for others is more important. But standing with others is most important. I am a princess. I believe compassion makes me strong. Kindness is power. And family is the tightest bond of all. I have heard I am beautiful. I know I am strong.
I promise. And when I promise something, I never, ever break that promise.
I am a princess. Long may I reign.
So, how many people here or their children have seen the film Frozen? I hope a few more. So Frozen, which is the #1 film, what you don't know about Frozen is that Disney, that was supposed to be their last animated film. They did not think it would make $1 billion. So we're obviously going on to Frozen 2. Frozen is opening on Broadway, etc. But what is little known is that piece of advertising is what inspired them to do Frozen, and Bob Iger, the chairman of Disney, has given us credit for that, for recognizing that the princess franchise could be reinvented with new kinds of values than they've had in the past. So when it comes to humor, this is what Commander Data had to say about humor. I fail to understand why this is amusing. Access your data banks under humor, subhead slapstick. Comedy stressing farce and horseplay? Now do you see why it's funny? No, sir, but I will take your word for it. We used a well-known character for Procter & Gamble to take a little-known brand that they had called Aussie, a shampoo brand, and used an online character to bring this to life.
I wish I could just, get out of bed and have my hair be done.
Why is this happening?
Is it windy out?
So windy.
I can't get it wet. My hair's so frizzy. My hair is so flat.
This looks stupid.
Is this stupid? Does this look dumb? It's cute, right?
Cute, hideous.
I have to start all over.
No, I'm not going!
Just pulling up. So sorry I'm late. This took forever. Does my hair look okay? Is it okay? All right, you can't see it. Don't splash me. Don't splash me.
Have you seen my curling iron?
I left my curling iron on. You're sitting on my hair. Oh, watch the hair. Watch the hair.
I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Hey, do you want to join us?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no.
Okay.
I love her hair. Don't look at her.
So, although Data doesn't seem to understand humor, this little piece of film, which we did for only online content, gave us, as our first entree into Procter & Gamble, their first consolidation of all of their business with one agency in their history as it relates to that particular brand. So then I thought, well, what if we turn to Honda? Honda's at least a machine. What does Data say about machinery? Data says, we're all more than the sum of our parts, Data. I am only the sum of my parts, he says, though I do possess more of them. For Honda, in our London office, we produce the following: more than the sum of its parts.
Better efficiency, economy, performance. The road to better never ends.
Let's do those things that can't be done. Like less fuel in for more miles out. An impossible made possible.
So, So that ad for us used metaphor and magic, which Data can't do, but more important, it won not Gold Lion at Cannes for the campaign, but actually more important for us, for our London office, it won the business away from Wieden & Kennedy, who'd had it for a number of years. Commander Data, we took the world's blandest and most boring cracker and transformed it for Mondelez, using the Makers Movement, which is in the US, using their very essential product. Oops, let me go forward for Mondelez.
Puke feta minskit. Bako pea chukalaskit. Avo chikarachaskit. All it takes is just 3 ingredients on a Triscuit, and the possibilities are endless. Triscuit, made for more.
Spicy pickle, you'll remember it for life. My mom likes to tell the story that my dad married her for the pickle recipe.
Still haven't got the original recipe either.
I'm not going to give it to him.
My brother and I started our company using our great-grandmother's pickle recipe. Pairing that with a Triscuit, it's 3 ingredients. It's the same cracker that's been around for 100 years. Take a little bit of our tapenade, which again has that McClure's brine in it. It's really simple. It's nothing complex. Cucumbers, dill, peppers, and garlic. That's it. We want to keep doing that. We want more of that.
Okay. So next, and I think that what I wanted to share next, I wasn't prepared to work with one of these and tell a story and click. I can't do those things at the same time, which is kind of embarrassing. So I'm a little out of order, and I do apologize. I did want to get to one last thing. A few years ago, a young woman walked into my office and said, "I feel in my gut we can transform Intel by taking their most famous bong and combining it with Beethoven's Fifth and use their logo as a portal to point out where they're invisible," which was their problem. They were invisible. In other words, an iPhone is just a piece of plastic, even though Steve Jobs gets all the credit, and to put an Intel chip in it. But, so it's dumb plastic until it becomes smart plastic with the Intel chip, but they're completely invisible, so they don't get the credit. So she walked into my office and said, "I want to do a mashup between Beethoven's Fifth and the Intel bong and show people where the technology is hidden." My head of strategy was in there and said, "That's ridiculous." And I said, "That's brilliant. That will win the business," which it did. So lastly, and I added this at one last minute, last Thursday night in New York, our new client, Elizabeth Rutledge, was received the Brand Genius Award from Adweek. And it was for a new campaign which we launched for her called The Powerful Backing of American Express, Don't Live Life Without It. What's interesting about it is that American Express, as I'm sure many of you know, had been at Ogilvy and Mather for 57 years. And we were able to win the account from Ogilvy with this simple expression. Part of their nomenclature, if you will, is that, and really their DNA is a celebrity brand, and they wanted to make their celebrities more current, more warm, more in their neighborhood, etc. So in an effort to do that, they've enlisted a whole new type of celebrity. And in this particular case, it was Lin-Manuel Miranda. Do people in the audience know who that is? Created Hamilton. Hamilton at the moment on Broadway, and for 3 years, the cheapest seat you can get is $1,500. They go up to $8,000 still now for a single seat to get to see Hamilton. in this amazing rap musical, if you will. So Lin-Manuel Miranda is the hottest composer in America at this time, and we created this piece using Lin as a spokesman, if you will, for American Express.
Don't forget that the past can speak to the future.
Hey, let's settle down. I'm gonna be your substitute teacher.
Don't assume the substitute teacher has nothing to offer. Same goes for a neighborhood or a community. Don't forget that friendships last longer than any Broadway run. Mr. President.
What's up? I think you meant to say thanks for the coffee.
And that inspiration will strike while you're walking your dog or reading a book. Yeah, don't settle for your first draft. Don't settle for your 10th draft. You get to create the room where it happens. Just don't think you have to do it alone. Go out into the world knowing someone has your back. The powerful backing of American Express. Don't live life without it.
This is what Adweek had to say about an ad. In a new ad starring Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of the pop culture phenomenon Hamilton, American Express persuasively makes the case its financial services are a friendly hand supporting you on the road to success. The ad puts a premium on authenticity to good effect. The ad's attention to detail, creating a convincing air of intimacy and camaraderie. Even the 30-second version does an excellent job of packing in the message as Miranda's voice manages to lend both authority and approachability to the endeavor. Clearly something that data could not do. So as I close my remarks today, I would like to turn to an image that I think that we need to recognize from your home, which redefined the nature of God and the nature of creation. The third word in the Bible is create, and God created. When the CMO recently at Cannes, Mark Pritchard, said he wished to live in a world where 75% of the money that he paid to his agencies went to creative people. So in that world, what I worry about as I come is that data, in fact, becomes the inferno. But in fact, where I think we can get to Dante's paradise, which is the end of Pilgrim's Progress, is to actually create, and to create in a larger, more inclusive, more powerful way, which is more possible than ever before. I've been in this industry longer than most of you, looking in the audience, and the exciting thing is when I started in the industry, you could make ads that were 2 minutes long for a cinema, et cetera, and then they got shorter and shorter and shorter, and pretty soon you couldn't tell a story. You'd hire a celebrity and make people laugh. We're now in this incredible age of creativity with the internet and everything that's happening in in digital, to tell stories of infinite length as long as they're engaging, and to truly create moving and powerful stories for our clients and the customers they serve. So again, let us remember the second word in the Bible is create. And you created in this nation the most powerful imagery where God touches the finger of man. Let us use our fingers, even they're on laptops, to create. Thank you very much.